Irish Patriots are on the march in Ireland, which is great because there's a lot of energy there that we just don't have here.
Yeah.
Like everything is just turning to absolute crap here. And for some reason, no one does anything about it. For some reason, we've just got the worst politicians. Sorry, go on.
Well, we've been sort of cowed. The British people have been cowed into submission.
Totally.
We've been just culturally battered down with, constant accusations of racism. If anybody questions mass migration, whatever the reason, I mean, a lot of people have very sort of, you could say, woke reasons for wanting to stop mass migration. I'm worried about the effect it'll have on my family and my friends who are already immigrants. They'll get the backlash when there's eventually a big backlash if there's unsustainable migration. But yeah, in Ireland, I guess because their history, they never had an empire, and they never maybe a small building empire in London, but it's not the same as they're not burdened by this guilt that British people have been sort of indoctrinated into having.
As far as I'm aware as well, the Irish government has not been organising a very effective campaign against its own citizens in the same way that the English government, the British government has for the past 50 years. I mean, the British government really, from the moment the Conservatives kicked out Enoch Powell onwards, have created a terrifying and effective mechanism to keep out all dissent. Anybody who would want to reverse the flow of migration from any halls of power.
Well, if you'd spent 300 years controlling a world empire, you'd probably build up some institutional knowledge on how to suppress the natives, right? I think that's
less so.
Yeah, that's being applied to us. The Irish Republic, obviously, less so. But before we carry on, we want to hire you if you are a production manager and if you've got skills in videography, audio, and editing work, and you're available in London or Swindon, do send us an email on lotuseaters.com careers.
Are you moving to London? We're opening a studio in London.
Answering questions.
Are you interested in flying, Leo?
we may be doing lots of interesting things this year, and you can be a part of it. Anyway, so this is the kind of energy that I'm talking about. Now, we used to see this kind of energy about a decade ago when certain unmentionable peoples who were proven right on every count ran organizations, far-right evil organizations like the English Defence League. But that, of course, as you say, was beaten out of us because it turns out they were racist. Turns out everyone's a racist. But the Irish have decided, no, we actually don't care. Ireland for the Irish, which used to be Sinn Féin's position until about 5 minutes ago, became Ireland for everyone.
Yeah.
It's like, right, okay. So good luck with the green and orange lads. But yeah, no, these are everywhere. Lots and lots and lots of people out just on a regular day protesting. Of course, you've got the defenders of the status quo at the back, the police, protecting them. And this is just, again, I love to see it, man. I absolutely love to see the Irish Patriots, the sea of flags, and people actually getting out there and being present. Because that's the thing that the British, in particular the English, are really guilty of just not doing at this point. We're just not out in the streets. We're not present. We've just completely accepted that the global order has conquered us and that we're to be just a colony of, I guess, the World Economic Forum, to be honest.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think you don't see, even though people get out and wave the flags in Scotland, it's very much a sort of anti-English thing,
yes,
rather than they've made their differentiating points. The SNP have to be, and the Scottish Nationalists have to be different from the English in every point. So they made that that they are going to welcome everybody from around the world. But they can safely say that because nobody wants to move to Scotland.
Which is absolutely true. If you look at the demographics in the last census, like all of the migrants are in England.
Yeah.
Like 95% Scottish in Scotland still.
Yeah, so if people move to Scotland, it's mostly to sort of get into England more easily. And England does have incredibly porous borders. So I shared a flat with this guy, Bernardo, from Brazil. He was an illegal immigrant and he got deported. He got deported. He was a sound guy. But
sure, but
he was driving around with no license and stuff. He was delivering flowers for Royal Bank of Scotland and stuff.
A delivery driver.
But he got caught in a road rage thing, got sent back, and but then he just came in. He went to Ireland, met up with his girlfriend who's English, and then came across in the ferry. No checks or anything. I mean, this is a while back, so I guess Brexit might have changed that. But you can
I'd be shocked.
England is so porous.
Yeah. No. God, I hate the way this country.
I was just going to add as well that Scotland right now doesn't have many immigrants, but if UBI is implemented, as there are some plans to do so, which I think would offer $25 grand a year for doing absolutely nothing.
Isn't
in
that
Scotland.
just the Scottish lifestyle anyway?
Well, it's being codified this time. So if they put that into law, then I see some migration up north. And, go for it. Do it, please.
But this is why
them off our hands.
This is why Ireland, because per capita, Ireland has had more immigration than England, especially in recent years. And it's because Ireland is an incredibly generous welfare system, and I think they're also generous to immigrants as well.
They're also an incredibly small country. There are only 5 million people in the Republic of Ireland. So you can see why there's a lot more. The sense of community feels a lot more closely knit, which is nice. You get it in regional areas of England, but unfortunately, we're just not seeing it.
You get cities in Ireland, but as far as I can tell from creators that I've watched who are from Ireland, they say that Ireland is still mostly fields. It's still mostly fields with
very
villages here and there. So, of course, that's going to create a more communal mindset. And even in the cities, you can be sure that those people are going to be bringing that mindset into the cities.
Yeah, Dublin has sped run the London experience. Unironically, it's just been, in the last couple of years, Dublin has turned itself into London. And so, be warned, this is going to keep happening. The Dublinification of the rest of Ireland will just continue. It will spread out like a cancer, and you can look at the British census if you want to see the effect of it. And so anyway, you've got quite a lot of direct action, although that's not the one I wanted, this one. You've got quite a lot of direct action. And now, so I don't endorse this. I actually found this to be quite difficult to watch. So this is a local community that have approached the Irish contractors who are working on, as described by Gerard Murphy here, a migrant plantation centre in County Wicklow. And the community came out to basically persuade him to stop working, to pack up his tools and go. So what the left would call direct action. Now, I feel a bit bad about this because, in one way, yes, this is a really good way of doing things because the guy is polite and he's effective in his rhetoric. But then one of the other guys just off camera just starts shouting at him and intimidating him. And so it's like, right, this guy is just doing his job. Now, I hate that to be the excuse to use, but there's something about it that doesn't sit entirely right. But apparently they were successful in this. And so I thought we'd have a look at what they're protesting against. This is Abdul. He's an asylum seeker. He's got 6 children and a wife in Afghanistan, and he doesn't work. Let's listen to Abdul explain his situation, shall we?
And how does it works? When did you came to Ireland? You said 8 months ago, yes? From England or from Afghanistan?
Afghanistan through different routes. Okay. We say my English is so weak.
Your English is good, yeah. You're very good English, so very nice.
He doesn't talk very loudly, and his English isn't great. But he's just sat around in the park in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
And you
milling about?
Just literally milling about.
So he's already absorbed the Irish culture.
No, he hasn't got a Guinness in his hand. His wife's in Afghanistan. He can't.
Yeah, there's an Irish next level milling that he's not achieved yet.
But you can see why people would be annoyed. This is really... I'm not Irish, but I find it's really insufferable. Because why should this absolute slacker be given more than enough money to live in Dublin, again, one of the most expensive places in Ireland, to just sit around? How long is this going to go on for?
Yeah, and
is this indefinite?
One of the arguments, the pro-immigration arguments, is that it's essential because Western economies are essentially a Ponzi scheme. We've got an aging population that needs to be supported by bringing in fresh workers, but we're not even getting the Ponzi scheme right. We're bringing people in at the top to slack and be supported by everybody else.
Literal dependence what being imported.
Yeah.
What they basically get is socialism for the foreigners.
Yeah.
They just get over here and they get to be the socialist, except they don't even have to work, really.
Yeah. And you get the privilege of paying for it, Harry. Your taxes...
Well, I'm not Irish.
Well, no,
I hope the Irish
you think this isn't happening here?
Well, of course I know it's happening here.
It's the same bloody thing.
I can at least take solace that this...
It's happening to the Irish too.
This fine gentleman, I'm not funding him specifically until he gets on a ferry and gets over here.
Yeah, he might just walk across the border into Northern Ireland. But anyway, so this I think is an understandable and what I think is a grassroots movement in Ireland. I think it's completely understandable why the Irish have a strong sense of self because, and I guess I'm going to have to give to them centuries of oppression, And this is understandable that, a bunch of foreigners are being brought in by a globalist government to sit, like you say, kind of at the top as dependents on the working, honest Irish people who are paying all the taxes, right? You don't need a conspiracy theory to explain why tens of thousands of Irish people might be like, I might protest this.
Yeah.
However,
it's also, you must say, that the same narratives that have worked for so long against the British, that you are a colonizer, you're evil, you enslaved people, etc., it won't work on the Irish, because their entire identity has been forged over hundreds of years of ethnic solidarity against the English.
Yeah, and against oppression, which is fair. And so if you're an Irish leftist and you're looking at this going, the Irish people seem to have a problem with the globalism and communism we're trying to impose on them. Who can we blame for it? Because it can't be a homegrown phenomenon. It has to be foreigners. It has to be the British. The real foreign threat, British imperialism.
Are the British viewed in Ireland like the Jews are in some other communities?
Maybe.
They've got the bog over there, British occupied government.
Honestly, that is the opinion of Republicans against fascism. You'll never see Irish fascists opposing British occupation and partition. They prefer to attack defenseless men, women, and children fleeing war and poverty. Far right, cowards and bigots, never patriots. And for anyone just listening, they've got some posters. British soldiers occupying our country, the foreign threat supported by Irish fascists. It's like, my God, I wish we were half the country you guys make us out to be. You know what I mean? Like, can you even imagine? Like, you're 100 years out of date, my friends. It's just ridiculous nonsense. I mean, for example, there's this chap's like so-called Irish patriots are so obviously the stooges of foreign interests. It's like, whoa, hang on. You're the immigrants in, Irish out parties. You're the guys who support literally every foreign interest in the world until someone from outside of Ireland is like, hey, you guys, maybe Ireland should be for the Irish. And you're like, ugh, disgusting foreigners.
It is interesting. It must be such a contradiction within these people's minds, a paradox, that ethnic identity doesn't matter at all, presumably to the Irish leftist, because anybody can be Irish who's just got off the boat, except for those damned British, in which case their ethnic identity is always going to be held over them.
Yes.
Follow them like a shadow wherever they go.
Evil British outs.
How can you hold these two ideas in your mind at the same time?
I don't know. I mean, we have a lot of non-white British people, so maybe we could put them in charge of the discourse between the Irish leftists and Britain.
But I mean, as soon as they step over the border, surely they're Irish now.
Well, I mean, that's what I would thought. But apparently one of the main organisers, a former NATO officer, it's like, yes, NATO, the evil empire of the British? Like, what are we talking about? I mean, Ireland isn't actually a member of NATO, just for anyone who doesn't know. I mean, there's a map of NATO.
Yeah, Ireland's the ultimate freeloader when it comes to defence. So their defence budget is like 0.25% of GDP or something.
Do you know how big the Irish army is?
It's like 600 people or something.
7,000 people. But yeah, it literally is. Like, you couldn't stop any kind of invasion with that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've not seen this map before. How is Greenland? What's Greenland offering?
Strategic location. I'm not
A
offering
big ice
manpower,
desert.
right? Yeah, but it's a strategic location to go across the Arctic to get to Russia, right?
I suppose so, yeah.
It's only an ice desert for the next 20 years, and then apparently global warming is going to turn it into
I'm sorry. I'm thinking
beautiful
short
land.
term.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got to think ahead on these things. But yeah, you are right. Ireland is a bit of a freeloader when it comes to their national defence, but to be fair, you don't have to worry about it. But the point being, like, this sort of like, oh, look, he's a NATO officer. It's like, NATO isn't the British Empire and doesn't have designs on occupying Ireland with British troops, you lunatics. What are you talking about? And so anyway, the Irish far right is a barely disguised foreign-funded psyop to try and stop Sinn Féin from taking power.
So all those people we saw marching and talking to the contractors and stuff, they were
NATO
all
members, I guess.
and they were all fake. They were all fake. They were
all fake.
based in America and just fake accounts.
And the really clever thing about foreign imperialism over Ireland is it comes in the guise of Ireland for the Irish. That's really clever.
This is my new favourite Blue and On conspiracy theory I've not experienced.
It's brilliant because you might think that a foreign imperial movement might say Ireland for everyone.
Yeah.
Actually, so we can get all the foreigners into
Sinn
Ireland.
Féin does.
Like Sinn Féin does, yes. So we can get all the foreigners into Ireland and make sure that the Irish have got no moral weaponry to kick them out. But no, apparently the far right have been completely co-opted by the big brain British long game, which is making sure the Irish are very patriotic about their own country. Now, I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, this lovely communist account thinks that Irish patriots don't listen to enough trad music. They're not involved in trade unions. They don't speak Irish, so they can't be Irish people. But they are linked with British fascism, because British is now a fascist country.
To be fair, on one point,
Go on.
patriotic nationalists should listen to more traditional folk music from their nation. I agree.
don't like it, though.
It's great. You should listen to more British folk music, honestly.
This-
You should. Also, I'm just confused now. So is this man insinuating, and the other people behind him, that Conor McGregor is a NATO agent?
I guess he is, yeah.
Makes no sense to me.
He's a British soldier or something. I don't know.
And is he also suggesting that immigrants to Ireland do all these things, like speak Gaelic and listen to traditional Irish music?
Well, that's a great point, isn't it? It's like, right, so the Irish patriots, as in people born and raised in Ireland for generations upon generations, well, they don't speak Irish, they don't listen to trad music, they don't get actively involved in social campaigns and not on trade unions, so they're not really Irish people. They are actually British people because they're linked with British fascism. Some of them are former British soldiers. They have a warped grasp of Irish history, a mythical notion of the ideal Irish emigrant, and Anglo-American culture war lingo. Ah, right. Anglo-American culture war lingo. They must be really in favor of trans rights, or LGBT, or something like that, because that is also Anglo-American culture war lingo. And as Sky News pointed out, well, hang on a second, a lot of people outside of Ireland are talking about Ireland.
Wow.
Sorry, I thought we were a global, outward-facing, like, everyone can be Irish, can't they?
And the people complaining about this would never say anything about Israel.
Yeah. They've got nothing to say about foreign countries either.
What this is, they're trying to insinuate that these are all outside agents, when in reality, it's more like at the end of Breaking Bad, when Walt is behind the glass as Hank's about to get shot. No, don't do it! Don't let them in! Oh!
Yeah, no, that's literally
all this is. It's going, no, don't do it!
No, what they're mistaking here, obviously, is the fact that we non-Irish people are cheering on the Irish patriots. We are giving them moral support because they're doing the right thing, resisting the globalist takeover of their country. Good on you, lads. Keep going. We're totally behind you. I mean, they complain here. Well, it was American users. They've got a little graph here. Look. People outside of America were talking about it when it hit the news. No kidding. And here's the breakdown. You know, there were 100,000 posts on Twitter about from the United States and only 42,000 from Ireland. It's like, well, okay, hang on, guys. I've got. I think, is it anything to do with Irish expats to America?
Yeah, there's a huge diaspora in America.
Yeah, maybe there are loads of Irishmen in America or descendants of Irishmen in America. I mean, it's really not, again, conspiracy theory. I don't know. But
could this also be a function of that dreaded couple of words that keeps getting bandied about for purely racist reasons, I'm sure?
Go on.
Per capita. Dun, dun, dun. Might it have something to do with that?
This is an issue of the per capita skull being pushed up the hill, Sisyphean style. But as they say, Tommy Robinson, an English far-right activist, attracted the fourth most engagement on his posts on Twitter. His posts, he's Irish descended, yeah. So that's exactly the point. You just can't get away from him. But posts mentioning the town were engaged with 42,000 times. My goodness. So what we're going to do is look at things that aren't foreign influence in Ireland, such as Sheikh Dr. Umar Al-Qadri, who says a united Ireland is inevitable. What? Who are you? Why does this matter to you? Well, let's have a look at his bio and see what... Right, so he's an independent MEP candidate from Dublin. He's the founder of Irish Muslim Council. He's Dutch, Pakistani, Irish. Right. This isn't foreign influence. Right? This is normal, native, homegrown Irish influence. Everything about this man is Irish, and so he has opinions on the future of Ireland. that a united Ireland is inevitable. It's like, okay, all right, whatever. We can pop over to Northern Ireland as well, because this same sort of thing is happening in Northern Ireland, except the protests aren't quite as interesting. Where we have the first mayor of Derry, Lillian Sione Barr, who describes herself, quote, "I am a proud Maasai woman and Derry girl." Right. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. That's exactly how this works.
I guess the Maasai warriors drink a lot of dairy.
I mean, they do. That's true.
Yeah.
But she says, having initially come to Derry as a refugee, facing an uncertain future, I can now truly say that my family have found their home. What's the war that the Maasai have been engaged in that caused her to be a refugee?
Was that the one with Michael Caine in it?
I don't know, actually. And she recently was on TV complaining because Irish patriots in Ireland are terrorists, actually. I thought we'd just listen to this. Quite entertaining, actually.
Everyone is living on edge right now, and we need to do something about it. We cannot continue ignoring that this is a small minority of far-right movie. It is an organized terrorist group of people who want to harm immigrants in this country, and we have to take action now. We can't keep on calling them a small, dangerous group of people, because it is an organized group of people who are radicalizing young people and encouraging them to go and harm others who are just living peacefully, who wants to live a peaceful life in this country.
Irish accent's sounding a bit different lately.
Yeah. It's
got a bit less of that sing-songy vibe.
Yeah, but for me, it's the bit at the end, who just want to live a peaceful life in this country.
Remember that Algerian guy who just wanted to live a peaceful life and stab people? Let's
not take the worst examples of the sort of people who've come. Yeah, but the thing is, you living a peaceful life in the country you're in does come at the expense of the people who are already in the country. You are competing with them, for example, for the position of the mayor of Derry. I mean,
but she was voted in, right? The people must have risen up in love and admiration for her, and all voted for her.
It's interesting that you say that, because she became Northern Ireland's first black mayor, obviously, and the selection process, quote, as the BBC tell us, has been criticised by some party members as undemocratic and prompted one councillor's resignation. Jason Barr will continue as an independent councillor because he didn't become the deputy mayor and refused it because it was not an easy decision to make, but he found he was left in an untenable position due to decisions made by the management committee. Right. So it was rigged to put the diversity in place. And he got screwed out of it. And so he was like, well, there we go. And so now Derry is being run by a proud Maasai woman, but it is the far right that are the tools of foreign influence.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Keep going, Irish Patriots. You're doing a great job.
She should be able to run it well, because the Maasai are really good at running.
They're really good at jumping as well.
And jumping, yeah.
They've got
They're famous for running, long distance running.
They've got this actual culture where they jump really high up in the air for some reason. And they all do it. I remember watching videos in school.
And then
it's okay. It's cool. Fair enough. There's nothing dishonorable about it.
What's your culture achieved? Well, great works of art, civilization.
Harry,
we went across the world and conquered so much. What does your culture do? Well, we jump high.
Yeah, but our
they
culture's
do
now
fantastic.
Harry.
Fantastic.
They do have some cool stuff as well. Like they chase animals for miles, and they drink blood from cows. No, they do this cool stuff.
So
it's like every cult of
high
Scotland's
jumping vampire culture. Well, you've sold me. Give
think
this
she's in
woman
charge,
a medal.
Oh, give her the mayoralty.
Yeah, she's got it.
She will get
Mayor's medal.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we'll leave that there.
If you appreciated that episode from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content on the site, such as the Epoch series, this episode on Tiberius Gracchus. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Twitter at @lotuseaters_com on Twitter. Thank you and goodbye.